Hello everybody and welcome back to another video on my channel. If you're new here, my name's Kevin, or Kev, from Minis by Kev. In this week's video, I'm gonna go ahead and finish a Shadowbox project that I have been working on for, I don't even know, 10 months, longer. You can see yourself there, look, a little bit of reflection. I will show you more close-ups later in the video, and I talk a little bit more in a second, so I'm gonna go ahead and explain more. So I'm gonna go ahead and just go ahead and start the video, but just so you know, this is what we're working on today. Even though it's April, I wanted to do something a little spooky. More cutesy spooky than scary spooky, so if you're into cutesy spooky, this is for you. So this project is something I've been working on for months and months and months because I can't seem to figure out what I want to do with it. I made the siding for the house, the two windows, and this door, and I wanted to make it some kind of Halloween thing. I still think I want to go with that, but it just wasn't coming together. I keep struggling, but I'm finally gonna finish it. I think I really want to just have it be done. It's been in my life since before last Halloween, so it's March now. It's been in my life too long. I need to finish this, and I think I know how I'm gonna do it now. So at least there's that. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started, and hopefully this turns out exactly how I'm envisioning it in my brain. I started off here to show you that originally I had these smaller pieces for the inner window frame, but I ended up taking them off before I started recording. They just didn't look right. They were too small, and so I ripped them off and went with these little coffee stirrers instead. Here you can actually see me cutting them. And the reason I did this is because when I looked at a window frame, I realized that there's the actual frame, but then windows also have their own frame within that. So I needed to create that to give the illusion that it is a window within a frame, not just a window frame. For some reason, I decided to do the dry brushing portion before I glued on the frame that I just built. As you'll see in a second, I'm going to glue on the frame after. I don't really know why I did that, but I wanted to add a little bit of color to the walls of the house, the siding, so it wasn't one flat color. If you've seen any of my old videos, you may know that I sometimes struggle with dry brushing, but I actually think it turned out fine this time. I am coming along. I'm learning things as we go along. But while the dry brushing went well, one thing I struggled with was the spider webs I wanted to add in. I tried doing cotton, but as you can see in this cotton, there's these little pilly things that appeared, and then I thought maybe a cotton pad. I thought maybe I could try and rip that out and stretch it out. These did not work. So then I got the idea that maybe I could make some out of hot glue on a piece of this parchment paper. I thought maybe once it dried out, I could paint it white. This also did not work at all. This whole process was a learning curve for me. I wanted to try and make spiderwebs with what I had at home, and that did not work out, unfortunately, in this situation. There's my dog right there in the background just watching me. But I tried to do the glue, which I didn't know if that was gonna work or not. I don't think I've ever seen anybody do that to make spiderwebs before. That didn't work. It was so spectacularly bad that there was no point in even showing you. It was all like clump. It was just glue. It was a glue clump, to be honest. And this is not working, so I tried to also glue pieces of it together and then shred it so that way I wouldn't have the little like balls in it. I'm not really sure what those are. That didn't work. So I caved and I ordered some fake spider webs. I ordered these because I knew that this would work. Well, now that I'm looking at it, I'm nervous it may not. It comes with fake spiders. I hate spiders. I have an irrational fear of spiders, but let's hope that they don't look real. So that's the only reason why I'm holding this. Let's hope that this works because it looks kind of strange, but I need some kind of spider web. And I tried to DIY it and I could not. And the good thing is, I guess, that I have a lot of spider web for future projects, because this is a lot of spider web. So let's go ahead and try it and see if it works. I decided that before I started putting on the spider webs, I should probably actually glue it on the door because for some reason at this point, I still hadn't done that. So I started off by gluing down the door, and then I decided I wanted to do the little pathway at the bottom of the door, and to do that I needed to start off by sanding it so that way when I did paint it and glue on it, it had a surface to stick to. The Shadowbox frame has like a glossy finish to it, and glue won't stick to that very well, so that's why I went ahead and did it. And then I painted it brown because when I did put down the grass, if you did see underneath it, I wanted it to be looking like there was dirt there rather than the blackness of the actual Shadowbox. And then I started to measure out the different path pieces, and this is similar to how I made my stone in my abandoned castle room. And I went ahead and just made like a little stone sidewalk in front of the door, which I like how it turned out. It ended up being a really good pathway. Then this is where I noticed that one of the little inner parts of the window fell off and I needed to glue that back on. However, I couldn't find it. No idea where it went, so I went ahead and made another one. I used the same painting technique as I did in the abandoned castle room, where I put down a base gray and then I just went ahead and dry brushed it. I didn't want to do anything too complex because I'm not good at color matching, and if I needed to change something in the future, I didn't want to have to worry about that. So I went ahead and just did a base coat and did some dry brushing on top, and I think it turned out cute. I'm not sure if it's like a typical sidewalk look, but it reminds me of like a little cottage or something. So then I went ahead and decided to glue down the frame part because I needed it to be there for when I started adding spider webs. I needed weight to make sure that it would stick down, so I went ahead and grabbed the closest books to me because my 1, 2, 3 blocks weren't enough. And it just happened to be a Stephen King book that I finished recently that I really liked. It was really, really messed up. I have some moss that I bought online. However, I wanted there to be a little bit of color variation in the grass, so I went ahead and mixed some other color. And then I mixed it with glue. The color I ended up mixing the moss with, I'm not sure if you can even see it in the end, but in my mind, there's a little bit of variation, which is what I wanted. So I went ahead and glued it down with the glue moss mixture in hopes that it would look somewhat like grass. Then I decided to bust out the spider web. It took me a very long time to figure out how to open this. I realized it is vacuum sealed shut, so I had to get my X-Acto blade out so I could cut it open. This stuff looks weird. It looks like, I'm not even sure what. You know what? I'll just go ahead and show you what I think it looks like. You can't tell me that I don't look like the perfect actor for Colonial Williamsburg with this wig on. While in the end I do think this looks the most like spiderwebs, which it should because it is fake spiderwebs, it was just as difficult to work with as anything else I tried working with. It shreds kind of strangely and clings to things, and it bunched up when I put glue on it, and it really made me realize why my mom hated this stuff growing up. She didn't want to use it, and now I know why. This stuff sticks to stuff. It took a lot of manipulation to get it to work. I think that in the end it does work, but it just was a lot. So if you plan on getting this for any project, just take your time because it can be a little frustrating. And then I just wanted to show you what it would look like once I put the little door decorations on. So something I really want to try making is back in the 90s, they maybe have had them before, but I remember having them as a kid. There was those trash bags that you could fill up with like loose leaves and put in your front yard to look like a pumpkin or a ghost or something like that. And I want to try and make that. However, I don't actually use trash bags. I use old Target bags because here in California you have to pay for them and I'm stupid and always forget my bags. So I buy these and then I try to reuse them. So I use them as trash bags. So in this case, I'm gonna try and do this. I think I can make the ghost pretty easily because this is already a good color, but the pumpkin is gonna be difficult. I'm gonna try 2 different methods. I think I'm gonna try an alcohol marker, which I think is gonna wipe right off. And then I'm gonna try an acrylic paint. But I'm afraid it may dry and crack strange because of the bag material. So I'm gonna go ahead and try both and then just fingers crossed for me, okay? Not to spoil anything too early, but this ended up being a huge fail. In the end, I ended up putting hours of work into these, but then when I tried gluing it down, I used hot glue. And as you may know, if you use plastic and hot glue, they will melt. So it ended up not looking how I wanted it to look anyway. So in the end, I don't know if I would have ended up using it. But I wanted to keep this in because I wanted to show you that not all miniatures are successes. There are failures, and that's okay. So here is my pumpkin face failure, and it's a little sad. Look at it. It's just a melted mess. But we learn by failing. I really tried to get the pumpkin to work, and I accidentally melted it. I was trying to use hot glue to keep it shut, not thinking plastic, hot glue, and it melted immediately. And it wasn't really looking how I wanted it to look anyway. So I decided to abandon that and instead do these, which I also had as a kid, which is these gravestones. I didn't know what size to print it in, and sometimes my printer messes up. So I printed it a bunch of times in hopes that like one of them would turn out well, but they actually all turned out good. So I'm gonna have to like figure out something to do with the rest of them. But I had these as well, which is they're like these corrugated tombstones that you put in your front yard. So I'm gonna put these in front instead of the bag, which is still sad. I'm hoping that maybe I can do a pumpkin like that in the future, but it was just getting frustrating, and I don't want my miniatures to become frustrating. So leaving that behind for next time. I'm gonna go ahead and start cutting this out, and we're gonna put it into the project. I wanted these to stick in the grass that I made really well, so after I cut them out, I added a half of a toothpick to the back to kind of stab down in. Turns out grass isn't that deep, so I had to do a little bit more to get it to stick, but it was a good anchoring point for it because I definitely needed something to hold it onto the grass. After I was done gluing it down, I went ahead and made some more of the moss and kind of chunked it up in front of it to kind of anchor it down because this stuff is really good at anchoring things down. I also made sure to wipe up any excess so that way I wasn't wasting this moss because it's expensive. At this point, my carpal tunnel was starting to act up, so I went ahead and put a brace on, and then I was checking it over. And I noticed that some of the paint on the door handle ran. Not really sure how it happened, but I went ahead and decided I needed to fix that because it was going to bother me forever. So I went ahead and painted it, and then this is what it looks like. I glued down the decorations, I fixed up the door paint, everything is awesome at this point. And because this project's been sitting around so long, the glass was extremely dusty, so I went ahead and cleaned that. And I put it in its Shadowbox frame and got it all nice looking. This I ended up really liking. I really like how it looks in the end. But as I've said in previous videos, because I live in a small apartment in Los Angeles, I don't have a lot of room for all my miniatures, so I will most likely end up selling this one on my Etsy, which is a little sad because I do love it. But I gotta make room for more miniatures, so I just love this one though. It's cute. It reminds me of my childhood, and that really makes me happy. And that's where we ended. I really like it. I think it turned out super cute. I really like that the spiderwebs turned out. That was something I was really struggling with, was how I was gonna do the spiderwebs. And while the little pumpkin pieces didn't work out, I do like what I ended up using, the little corrugated. I'm sorry that there's a lot of reflection in here, but you know, working with lights and cameras, and it's really difficult to get the right view. I also think it's important that when we're working on miniatures to say what we like about a project, because as artists, we can be hard on ourselves. So if you really like something about something you made, you should say that. Like, whether it's to yourself or, you know, someone you're showing it to, I really like this, you know what I mean? Like, say something about it that you like. Like I said though, I don't think I'm gonna end up keeping this one even though I do really like it. I'm probably gonna end up selling it just because I don't have a lot of room. I mean, I'm running out of room in my apartment. Maybe someday I'll move to a place that's bigger and I can have a bigger miniature space and I can keep more of my miniatures, but for now, I'm not. I like it though. I like it a lot. Reminds me of my childhood, and I think it's super cute. Thank you for watching, everybody. I'm not sure what I'm gonna be working on for my next video. I may go back to the abandoned castle at some point. I am working on another miniature that I thought was gonna be quicker to upload, but it's taking me really long to make it due to some warping issues. At some point, I do wanna remake this. This used to be my cozy library room that was on TikTok, but I ended up ripping it all out. So at some point, I wanna reuse this room I've started. So who knows what I'm gonna work on next? I don't know. So if you like miniatures and you like me, go ahead, hit that subscribe button. So if you like the video, hit the like button below. And if you love the video, make sure you hit the subscribe button below. And until next time, I will see you all later. Goodbye.